Hey viewers, in today's video we're taking a trip to Kashyyyk and taking a look at a custom LEGO Star Wars MOC inspired by the hit Star Wars game Republic Commando, coming up here on Beyond the Brick. Hey everybody, Matt here with Beyond the Brick, and welcome back to another video here. Today I'm very excited to show you another custom LEGO Star Wars MOC I've been working on here for you guys at Beyond the Brick. Now before we go ahead and continue, huge thank you to Culinary Customs for sponsoring today's video and providing all of the custom printed minifigures you will see in today's video. Now if you guys want to go ahead and check out some of the minifigures used in today's project, or if you want to go ahead and check out the other hundreds and hundreds of accessories and other minifigures on the Culinary Customs website, definitely go ahead and do so. Links will be down below in the description. Huge thank you to Culinary Customs for sponsoring today's video. Now today's project is focusing on Delta Squad. Now if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, you'll know one of the most popular games, even though it's quite old and outdated at this point in time, is Republic Commando. It's a game centered around Delta Squad, which is one of the most elite fighting forces during the Clone Wars, and it is a relatively short single-player campaign only game, but I did want to revisit that game and revisit one of the chapters that is in the campaign in which Delta Squad, all 4 members of Delta Squad, take a trip back to Kashyyyk. Now you guys might know and recognize Kashyyyk most notably from episode 3 in Revenge of the Sith. It is the Wookiee homeworld. We get to see a lot of cool action in the movies, but we really don't see anything too much outside of that, which is partially why I decided to recreate a small Kashyyyk MOC to show you guys today. So in this particular mission, all 4 members of Delta Squad venture on to Kashyyyk. They are dropped off by their commanding officer, and their goal is to infiltrate a Trandoshian outpost. Now if you guys don't know what a Trandoshian is, it's the species of Bossk. He's one of the bounty hunters. You get to see him in episode 5, so that's also really cool. But Delta Squad is tasked with infiltrating this camp on Kashyyyk. Now before we go and get on into the build, I do want to give a quick little look at all the minifigures, especially the Culinary Customs ones. The 4 members of the Clone Commandos or Delta Squad are Boss, Fixer, Scorch, and Seven. They all sort of have their own unique individual printing and whatnot. The first is Boss. He is the orange Delta Squad member. All of these figures are clones, so obviously their homeworld will be Commando. Now unfortunately there isn't too much well known about the Delta Squad. We've only briefly seen them in a couple of canonical pieces of content in terms of the Clone Wars. So the distinction of the Boss minifigure lies in the orange printing. You can see there's some really great printing on a custom mold for the Delta Squad helmet, as well as really nice custom printing for the arms, which is great. LEGO usually doesn't do any arm printing, and if they do, it's super expensive, so really happy that Culinary Customs wanted to include some really cool arm printing. All of these minifigures will come with black heads. There's no printed heads, although you do have that option if you do want to purchase them on Culinary Customs. The second of the 4 minifigures here is Fixer. He is the green Republic Commando. Of course, you guys could tell by the custom green printing all over the helmet and the body, as well as the backpack. I put him in this little makeshift foxhole. I figured that make for some really cool details for the craziness that's going on when they're invading this Trandoshian camp. Now his backpack is a little bit different. There is some height to it. I'm not exactly sure what that purpose is. Now color isn't the only thing that separates all of these minifigures. You can see, especially when you compare all the minifigures together, they all have very drastically different types of printing and style. It's not just the same exact design with different colors. There is a very clear uniqueness and distinction between each of the minifigures, which I really appreciate. But like all the other minifigures, of course, Fixer does come with green printed bodies, front and back, with the legs as well, and really nice arm printing, as well as a little bit of a different backpack, a little bit taller, with some green, as well as the helmet. The next member of Delta Squad is Scorch, an elite clone commando, part of the intimate group. He is printed with some really cool grays and yellows, which is kind of unique. It's not as bright as the orange and green. As usual, he does come with the standard 360 printing, all the legs, the torsos, the sides, custom arm prints, as well as a really cool backpack. Now this actually is a little bit different. Again, the backpack has 2 antennas as opposed to the one that we just saw, which is nice. And of course, like I said, we do have different designs for the actual printing itself, which is always a nice sight to see. The last minifigure here we have is Sev, the only other Republic Commando clone that has red, which is kind of a unique little twist. Again, 360 standard custom printing on the arms, legs, and torsos. A shorter backpack this time. It looks a little bit unique. It looks like maybe like mud or blood stain on the entire body of this clone. I've posted him up near this little shortened tree trunk. He does have a longer rifle, which is consistent with the game as well. So really cool minifigures. Overall, these are some of the most impressively designed and printed minifigures. Again, if you guys want to check out the entire Delta Squad or just check out some of them individually, links will be down below. Go ahead and check them out. The only other types of minifigures that I used in this project, of course, are the Trandoshians. These are not Clone Army customs. They are purest Lego customs, if you will. Again, a Trandoshian is just the species that Bosk is, again, the bounty hunter. So I could not obviously use 3 of the same minifigure, so I actually used the same head as the Bosk minifigure, but I went ahead and Fig Bark, which is just sort of combining different elements of legs and torsos and whatnot that have been officially Lego made. And I basically just made 3 of the Trandoshians that would be guarding the outpost. They all have this sort of darker colors, sort of more rugged rebellion look, if that makes sense. So nothing too crazy about those minifigures, but again, something I did want to cover. So now with the minifigures out of the way, let's dive on into the actual build itself. Now, the first thing that I've actually done, which I've never done before in a project, is use a black border. This is a pretty common thing done with these sort of styled mocks, these size mocks. Essentially, it's just a combination of curved slopes, tile, and some snot bricks, which is bricks stacked on the side to basically formulate this entire black border, which does look really nice. So one of the big things with Kashyyyk, of course, is the vegetation. Now, if you guys are familiar with Kashyyyk, there are these huge, massive trees, and obviously with something of this scale, it's really not possible to recreate. So the next best thing I wanted to do is recreate the lush vegetation that is on Kashyyyk. So you can see the entire sections in front of the base wall, and the gate is just packed with a bunch of vegetation. We have leaves, we have bamboo leaves, we have 3 stem leaves, some flowers, and we also have the inclusion of some branches and sort of broken down trees. And like I mentioned before, in the middle here, I just made this little makeshift foxhole, or sort of an area of the ground that has been blown up. Of course, you can see one of the Delta Squad members sort of hunkered up in there, being rescued by his fellow teammate, which is kind of cool. I basically used dark tan as the color because it would make sense that the sort of underground, not the green grass, but it'd be like the dirt, the dark tan dirt right underneath that would be exposed by an explosion or whatever would have gone off in that area. So that was a pretty cool thing to include. Also, some other minor details, I did include a pipeline that goes from the back to the front. Now, admittedly, this was a little bit of a creative liberty. I wanted to include something that would be sort of associated with a camp or outpost or something like that. So that was a really cool thing to add, as well as we do have some supply crates out in the front. Now, getting on into the most difficult part of this mock was designing the entire base and the wall. Now, staying consistent with the designs of the base was really important to me. Now, here's an image of what you guys can see here. You can see the gate with 2 sort of, I guess, headstones or sort of columns on the other side, and that was like the main part of the build. I wanted to formulate and create everything that scales properly around that. So you can see right above the gate, there's this little brown section with tile that is remaining accurate. I'm not too sure exactly what it functions as in the game, but it is an aesthetic that is 100% accurate to what you see in the game. And of course, you do have that gate right down below. It is not a functioning gate. I didn't think we needed to go quite that far, but you can of course get the idea. You can see all the light bluish gray and dark bluish gray that makes up for all the aesthetics that are part of that gate. I think I did a really good job recreating that in Lego form. Then now on either side of the gate, again, you have these sort of columns, but essentially they're like this giant inverted mountain slope that sort of comes out and of course has these really cool details. So on either side, we do have some dark tan wedges and tiles to recreate some of the aesthetic that you see in the game. And then the last part is you have this sort of wall with the cutout sections. You could see a Trandoshian who's been blasted away by Sev, again, that little long-range sniper right behind the trunk. He is falling down off of the wall, and you can see another Trandoshian camper right there, sort of taking fire, defending his outpost. This was a really cool part to design. Of course, in theory, this would be like a rundown, weathered, eroded sort of wall. So you can see I have managed to capture that. I've included some leaves on the sides of the wall, and utilizing plates and tile gives it a little bit more of a cracked look, which is nice. And you can see I've also used some slopes right there to make it look like there's some indents and some really detrimental cracks in the wall. And then there are 2 of these little stanchions on top of the wall. They sort of function as these, I don't know, it's like a medieval wall, like the little sort of rectangular parts that come up off the wall. Offers the defender's cover, also adds for a really nice aesthetic. So it may not look like much, but this was definitely a challenge to recreate, like I said, especially with accuracy when it comes to the structures. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, drop a like down below and comment down below what you think is the best part of this project. Once again, huge thank you to the Clone Army Customs for sponsoring today's video. Go check out all of their minifigures on their website down below, links in the description. But this has been Matt with Beyond the Brick. Make sure you guys subscribe down below with your post notifications on. That way you guys know a lot more videos are coming up very soon. I will see you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.